What makes Batman so good? Pretty sure the Avengers are the most successful superhero team in movie history. They made the most money, they sold the most tickets, and they became a pop culture phenomenon basically around the world. We also have Spider-Man, and as far as I know he sells the most comics and merchandise worldwide. And then we have indie comics, who sometimes deliver more unique and innovative storytelling. But all that doesn't really matter when it comes to Batman. Batman outshines them all. If you love comics, you love Batman. And if you don't love comics, you still love Batman. Most writers in the industry would trade anything in for getting a chance to write a Batman story. When it comes to movies, it doesn't matter how many times they recast him, how many times they reboot the story, we always show up and watch it again. While there's superhero fatigue in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I don't see any fatigue when it comes to Batman. And that's despite DC not really delivering the best quality lately when it comes to their comic movies. But why is it that Batman is so much bigger than everything else in comic? I believe the answer simply lies in the world that's created around the character. In this world, Batman isn't just a hero, he's the anchor for the entire universe and all of the characters that consist in it. And this is at the core, and this world around him is built primarily by the villains. It's always the villain that makes the Bond movie great or just average. The same goes for the villains in comics. If you have great villains, you're gonna have a great comic book. And Batman has the best villains. Just think about the MCU. It's brilliant storytelling, especially Iron Man's story arc and the cinematic universe. And the climax with Thanos was absolutely fantastic. Everyone all of a sudden knew who Iron Man was. Even those who don't read comics and never read an Iron Man comic in particular. But if you ask them, can you name 3 Iron Man villains? I'm pretty sure that most of them couldn't name a single one. Granted, they would say Thanos, which is more like a villain for the Avengers, but a specific villain that exists only in the Iron Man universe, I can't even name one. And I'm certainly more interested in comic stories than the average person. Now think of Batman. Even if you've never had a comic book in your own hands, you know who Catwoman is, you know who the Penguin is, you definitely know who the Joker is. If you're a little bit more into that comic culture, you can name at least a dozen more of Batman villains, like Two-Face, like Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, and so forth. And that's just the surface of all of the villains that exist in Batman's universe. But how did they create such great villains that in turn created this great world for the main character Batman? I believe it's primarily because Batman doesn't have the special powers, but his villains have. The most interesting part, for me at least, when it comes to comics, is always the origin story of a character. The fun part of Batman is that you can create countless origin stories, in which Batman will always be the underdog, because he doesn't have the powers, but all of his villains do. And that's something that no other mainstream character can give us. And that's a storytelling lesson that we can learn from Batman. Build a strong world by building strong and compelling antagonists who initially overpower your character. And if you do it the right way, you will have created a timeless protagonist.